Hey fellow backyard boyers, Nick here. Welcome to another Flint Knap Friday. I'm really excited for this one because all of this really awesome knapping stuff you see in front of you was sent to me by the Doomsday. I have a lot of stuff to cover now, and we've got a lot of tools to make, a lot of things to make, a lot of materials to work with. So really exciting, and again, thank you so much for this. So without further ado, let's get started. So first up I have some leather, and this looks like a nice hand pad. It'll be a lot better than using the leg pad I have as a hand pad, so I'm really excited to use this. I've had several hand pads, but I wear through them really quick, and I really like how simple this is. It's just a larger piece of leather folded over, so that's really nice. And then I've also got some nice pieces of leather. It looks like the same type of leather, and this is some really nice stuff. You could use this for leg pads, hand pads, pretty much anything, sheaths. This is some really nice, supple, but it's got a good thickness to it. And if you guys have suggestions for things you want to see with this leather, please let me know in the comments below. And actually, for any of this stuff, if you have any suggestions for things you want to see, please let me know. Alright, so we'll get to the slabs a little later. He sent a roll of TheraBand gold. So this is the end of an antler tine, and this right here is a multi-purpose tool. This end is a really good pressure flaker. It can also be filed into different shapes if you need to use it for notching or doing specialty serrations or something like that. And this end can be rounded down to do percussion work as well, so it's a really useful multifaceted tool. Or you could drill this out and put one of these copper nails in, and that way you could have an antler and a copper flaker in the same tool. Now we've got some aluminum here. I've got a couple of really thick aluminum rods, and I think these would probably do really well for making an indirect percussion tool. And then I've got a couple of copper pieces here. This one's rounded, this one's got a point. This would probably be good for indirect percussion as well. And then this is what I would use for a normal pressure flaker in aluminum. I like aluminum pressure flakers, but you need to make them a little thicker than copper because they wear down really quick. Now these over here are aluminum spikes. I really like these spikes because of the texture they have on them. It would really help them stay secure when putting them into a handle. And just with one spike you could probably get about 3 flakers worth of aluminum, so that's really impressive. Then he sent a bunch of copper nails, a horseshoe nail. This would be for a horseshoe flaker, and I've got to show you guys a really cool horseshoe flaker that I have that somebody else made for me. And then here is a copper nipple. This can be used for a lot of things. One of them is to, if you cut off, say, about this much, and then filled the end with lead, this would be a great substitute for a smaller copper bopper. Because the problem with a lot of the really small copper boppers is that the head will work loose before it wears out. It could also be used with a little bit of modification to be an ishi stick or something similar. So now we have some tiles. This is a floor tile that's been cut. I have 3 pieces here, and he was saying that this is really good with indirect percussion, so I've got to make myself a set and get familiar with it. And those would make some pretty cool blades. And then this is a glass tile. It's backed, so I'm probably going to lose this. It's just backed with paper. But that's some nice glass. It's got a good thickness to it. All kinds of things you can make out of glass. And then he's also sent a piece of clear glass, again, nice thickness. And he's also sent a mirror. So there's a lot of ways you can work this. The problem is that because mirrors are backed, if you were to nap this normally, you lose the mirror effect. But I've seen some really cool points where either two halves were napped and then glued together, or two slabs were glued together and then napped into one piece. That way you still have the mirror attached. Alright, so now let's start talking about all of this. We'll start down here with the flakes. So this looks like a piece of Kyoto chert. We've got a couple pieces of flint here, and then we've got dacite or dacite, and then this appears to be black butter. So it's a really nice obsidian to work with. And then we've got all of these slabs. So you can't really see because they're dry, but these slabs here are all rainbow obsidian. They look like Davis Creek to me, but I'm not entirely sure. These two are fantastic. They're just cut the right way. The colors are stunning. These other ones, you really have to play in the light to see it, but I think once they're napped, you can really get the pattern. So I'm excited to work those. Then I've got this mystery slab here. I'm not sure if this is obsidian, but it kind of looks like flint to me. So we'll work that. We'll see what it is. This is sort of a greenish obsidian. It looks to be a silver sheen with some green in it. Then we have some mahogany. That's some really nice looking stuff right there. And then we've got some preforms. So this is obsidian, these two are obsidian, and then these two are synthetic opal or opal glass. So it's got a really cool color to it, sort of that opal-y look to it. So if you guys have any suggestions for things you want to see me do with this stuff, please let me know in the comments below. We're going to nap this into something, and I get to try out my new hand pad. So here we go. Now, the first thing that I want to do is set it up in my hand pad, and I've already gone and made sure that the whole exterior is well abraded. It needs to be well abraded for you to get a good grip. Copper has just the right amount of grab for this. Aluminum works well too, but copper doesn't wear down as fast. So I'm just going to be working very close to the center line and just pressing off flakes as hard as I can. And this is how I first taught myself to nap. It is kind of painful on the shoulder, but the results are really nice. So let me double up my pad here. Here we go. So I'm just going to go to the center line, just a little bit below it, and see what kind of flake I can get. Okay. So you can see that one didn't quite make it to the center, but I can probably get that on the second pass. So let's go, try to go a little higher, about 1/4 of an inch away. Okay, so that took the other flake and they both finished right around the middle. So this is a really good size for a preform. I'm just going to keep doing that, going all the way around. Once I've gone all the way around, then I'm going to go on my final pass. But before I do too much of this, I'm just going to go and nap the back end real quick. So I don't have any problems. And I also have a thinner back end. So 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. Okay. And then as I get to the point, I start to angle back a little bit, because if I go straight across, I'm going to knock off this other side. So 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, and then I'll leave the end for the second half. But you can see I've got all these nice flake scars running across there. So now I'm going to flip this to this side and go across. Alright, so there's one face. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and do this side, starting with the back. So now that I've got it to this stage, you can see it's still kind of looking like a slab on the edges. I'm going to go for a second pass and work down all of these larger humps. And then I can go in and just sort of shear the edge to give the illusion that I started with a sharp edge and then worked my lenticular shape. Okay, so I'm just going to work from the back. And instead of pushing in and down, I'm just going to sort of push and then drop. I'm going for smaller flakes because I'm really happy with these larger flake scars. I'm just trying to thin out my edge. Now this half. Let me get the back end real quick. Should have done this first. So now I'm just going to go around the edge just to sharpen it up. I'm going to abrade it and then refine my shape going this way. And then I can balance out as needed. Alright, so here it is. It's pretty much finished. The only thing I have to do is put my notches in. I'm going to repeat on the other side. And the reason why I'm kind of doing this at the very end is almost like a braiding, so that the next pass on the other side can go a little further than if I didn't. And then this whole bottom edge needs to be trimmed just to balance everything out. There it is. One of the things I really like about this particular method of knapping is, as you can see, there's not much difference between finish point and the preform you start with. So it's really good for getting the most out of your slabs and your preforms. One of the things that I didn't like, and one of the things that as I learned more about knapping I switched the way I did it, is it may look fairly smooth, but if you run your finger across it, this is just a bunch of step fractures of different sizes. And the reason why it doesn't look bad, it actually is a pretty cool looking point. The reason why it doesn't look bad is because they're on different levels. One thing I'd like to do is take this and knap it using the zigzag method and see how close to this size I can get of a point. So let me know what you think about that. And that's it for today. If you like what I'm doing, be sure to check out my channel for other videos like this. And I've also written several books on different topics and I'll put links to those in the description below. And before I go, I'd like to give a huge thanks to everyone who's supporting me on Patreon. It's because of you that I'm able to continue doing videos like this. If you'd like to join the Patreon family and support the channel directly, I'll put a link to the Patreon page in the description below. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.